I'm sorting through spreadsheets on my kitchen table when my phone buzzes. Dad's name flashes across the screen. A smile tugs at my lips as I answer, balancing my coffee mug in my other hand. Hey, Dad. You're selfish, Naraya. Leora's the one who really cares about this family. His words hit like a physical blow. My fingers go numb, and the coffee mug slips, crashing onto the hardwood floor. Brown liquid splashes across my bare feet, but I barely notice the heat. What? I manage, my voice smaller than I intend. Don't play innocent. Your mother and I know exactly what you've been doing. His voice carries that familiar edge, the one reserved exclusively for my mistakes. $75 a month? That's what your family is worth to you? While your sister sends us $3,600? I sink into my chair, heart hammering against my ribs. Today marks exactly 5 years since I moved out. 5 years of building a life that's mine. The irony of this accusation landing today makes my stomach twist. Dad, I don't understand. We have the bank statements, Naraya. I stare at the coffee pooling around the broken ceramic pieces. 3 weeks ago, we all sat around my parents' dining table, the one my mother inherited from her mother, polished to a high gleam that reflected our strained smiles. I've been thinking, Leora had announced, twirling pasta around her fork. Mom and Dad could use some help with expenses. We should set up a joint fund. She'd smiled, that perfect smile that had graced countless family photos while I was relegated to the edges. We'll call it Sundance. They won't know which of us sends what, just that their daughters care. I'd agreed immediately, grateful for the chance to prove my worth. $2,900 each month, scraped together from my savings and weekend shifts at the coffee shop. Money I couldn't really spare, but family comes first. Always. You've seen what I'm sending, I say now, my voice steadier than my hands. It's almost $3,000 every month. Dad scoffs. Don't lie to us now. We have the statements. I pull up my banking app, fingers trembling as I navigate to my transaction history. There they are, withdrawals of $2,900, regular as clockwork for the past 3 months. My rent is due tomorrow and my account balance hovers dangerously close to zero. I can show you, I insist. I've been sending... Your sister already explained everything. He interrupts. She told us you were making excuses about being too practical to help. We didn't want to believe her, but the evidence is right there. Of course, Leora said it, so it must be true. The realization settles over me like a heavy blanket. They've already decided which version of reality to believe. The one where Leora is generous and I'm the disappointment. It's been this way since we were children. I press my palm against my forehead, suddenly remembering the storage room they converted into my bedroom when Leora decided she needed her own space at 13. The musty smell, the single bulb hanging from the ceiling, the way I'd pretend it was cozy rather than an afterthought. Naraya, are you still there? Dad's voice has that impatient edge now. Yes. I whisper, watching coffee seep into the cracks between the floorboards. Your mother and I expected better from you. We sacrificed everything so you girls could have opportunities. I almost laugh. They'd funded Leora's art school without question while telling me college was too expensive, that I should be practical about my future. I'd worked nights to put myself through data analysis courses, built my career piece by painful piece. I stare at my laptop screen, at the spreadsheets tracking every dollar I've sent them. The truth is right there in black and white, but they'll never see it. Dad, I say, my voice finally finding its strength, I think we need to talk about what's really happening with that money. I've spent my life trying to be enough for them. But in this moment, watching coffee drip from my table to the floor, I realize it was never about what I did. It was about who they wanted to see. 30 minutes later, the coffee stains on my hardwood floor have barely dried when my phone pings with a Venmo notification. I tap it absently, still reeling from Dad's accusations, when the screen freezes my breath in my lungs. Leora Adams sent you $0.75 Sundance Fund. My knees buckle. I slide down the wall until I'm sitting on the floor, phone clutched in white-knuckled fingers. I scroll through my Venmo history, each swipe revealing another identical transaction. 75 cents, once a month, for 3 straight months. 75 cents. Not $75. Not $3,600. 75 pennies. My trembling fingers navigate to Leora's public feed. There it is, a transaction to our parents' joint account labeled Sundance, with a little house emoji. But the amount is hidden, marked private. This can't be happening, I whisper to my empty apartment. I open my laptop and log into my email, searching for the confirmation of my own transfers, $2,900 each month. The evidence flickers on the screen, almost $9,000 gone from my account, while Leora contributed spare change. My phone buzzes with a text notification. I flinch, expecting Dad again, but it's from Tessa, my old high school friend who's been checking on me since I mentioned the family fund. How's Operation Family Support going? Before I can respond, another notification pops up. A screenshot someone sent Tessa Leora's private Instagram story she thought I couldn't see. A selfie in a new designer dress with the caption, "My big sister funds my life. It's like free money." The room tilts sideways. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was calculated. 3 sharp knocks on my door startle me so badly I drop my phone. I wasn't expecting anyone. Through the peephole, I see Leora's perfectly highlighted hair and practiced smile. My hand hovers over the doorknob. I take a deep breath and open it. Surprise! She breezes past me, designer perfume trailing in her wake. She surveys my studio apartment with that familiar look, pity poorly disguised as concern. Working on a Saturday again? Don't you ever take time off? What are you doing here? My voice sounds strange, distant. Leora sprawls across my only armchair, legs draped over the side like she's posing for a photo. I remain standing, suddenly aware of how awkward I feel in my own space. Dad called. He's worried about you. She examines her manicure. Said you were acting weird on the phone. I walk to my laptop, turn it toward her, and press play on a screen recording I'd started moments after Dad's call. Her Instagram story fills the screen, followed by the Venmo transactions. 75 cents? I say quietly. That's what you've been sending? Something flickers across her face, surprise. Maybe a touch of annoyance, but it vanishes quickly behind a laugh. Oh my God, you're not actually upset about this, are you? She shifts to sit properly, smoothing her dress. It's just money, Naraya. Besides, they always believe me anyway. What's the big deal? The big deal is that I've been emptying my savings account While I what? Take advantage of a situation? She stands, suddenly serious. Look, Mom and Dad aren't even in financial trouble. They have plenty saved up. I blink, processing this. What? They're helping me get established in the art world. Gallery space isn't cheap. She shrugs like this explains everything. They've always funded my dreams, you know that. The magnitude of the betrayal expands like a balloon in my chest, making it hard to breathe. Not just Leora, but my parents too, all 3 conspiring while I worked double shifts at the coffee shop, my bank account hovering near zero. My rent is due Monday. I say, the words tumbling out before I can stop them. So pay it. Leora examines a framed certificate on my wall, my data analysis qualification that took me 2 years of night classes to earn. I can't. I sent almost everything to them to you. Not my problem. She turns, eyes suddenly sharp. Besides, if you stop sending money now, what do you think will happen? They'll know I was lying. They'll blame you for turning them against me. I stare at her, finally seeing the threat beneath her casual demeanor. You'd lose the only family you have, she continues. Is that what you want, to be completely alone? My throat tightens. The stakes aren't just financial anymore. My whole family relationship, already fragile, hangs in the balance. At work, I've been making mistakes from exhaustion, jeopardizing the promotion I've been working toward for months. Now I'm facing the possibility of losing my apartment too. They're selling the lake house. Leora says suddenly, checking her phone. Dad just texted. They got an offer this morning. I freeze. The lake house? But that's been in the family for 3 generations, I know. She waves dismissively. They don't need it. They're using the money to help me open my own gallery. My parents' lake house, the only substantial asset they owned, the place they always said they'd retire to. If they're selling it, they certainly aren't destitute. They have enough money to fund your gallery but told me they needed help with basic expenses. The words taste bitter. Leora's phone chimes. She glances at it, then heads toward the door. Look, keep the money flowing and everything stays peaceful. That's all you've ever wanted, right? Family harmony? As she reaches for the doorknob, she pauses. By the way, don't bother calling Mom and Dad about this. They've never believed you over me before. Why would they start now? The door closes behind her with a soft click that somehow sounds like a prison cell locking. I sink onto the floor again, surrounded by evidence of a lifetime of manipulation. As I stare at my sister's Venmo payment 75 cents for Sundance Fund, a question forms in my mind. As I watched my sister leave, I wondered if I should confront my parents immediately with what I'd learned, or quietly withdraw my support and let the truth reveal itself naturally. Direct confrontation might clear my name, but patience might show me who they truly were without my intervention. What would you do when facing a lifetime of family deception? A day later, Leora's Instagram post appears on my phone screen during my lunch break. My turkey sandwich sits half-eaten as I stare at the photo my parents and sister beaming at their favorite seafood restaurant, plates of lobster arranged artfully before them. The caption reads, "Supporting family is what matters most. Blood eyes thicker, family first." The 37 comments below overflow with praise for her generosity. My cousin Elaine has written, "You're an angel for taking care of them." Some people forget where they came from. The pointed jab isn't subtle. My stomach clenches as I scroll through relatives' responses, each one more cutting than the last. My phone buzzes with a text from Uncle Walter. "Your parents shouldn't have to beg for help at their age. I thought we raised you better." Before I can respond, a call from Aunt Susan lights up my screen. My finger hovers over the decline button, heart thundering against my ribs. I've rehearsed this conversation in my head 20 times, but my throat still constricts as I answer. "Naraya, how could you?" Her voice carries that familiar family tone disappointment wrapped in righteous indignation. "Your mother called me in tears about their mortgage." "What mortgage?" I manage, my voice barely audible. "My parents paid off their house a decade ago." "Don't play dumb. If Leora hadn't stepped in, they'd be homeless by now." After hanging up, 3 more relatives call within the hour. By evening, my voicemail fills with my mother's trembling voice. "The medical bills are piling up, Naraya. The doctor says your father's heart." Her voice breaks. "I never thought my own daughter would abandon us like this." I check my bank account. $237.46 remaining. Rent due in 6 days, $1,150. The red numbers blur as tears fill my eyes. That night, I divide a single packet of ramen into 2 portions, saving half for tomorrow's dinner. My refrigerator contains only condiments and a carton of milk 3 days past expiration. I've been subsisting this way for weeks, stretching every dollar after depleting my savings account to near zero. The data analyst certification program deadline passed yesterday. $6,000 for the advanced course that would have doubled my salary money now sitting in my parents' account, funding Leora's lobster dinners. I'd taped the brochure to my refrigerator last spring, a dream now faded and water-stained. My hands shake as I open my laptop, creating a spreadsheet titled, "Family Financial Records." I meticulously enter every transaction from the past 4 months, taking screenshots of bank statements showing the $2,900 withdrawals. I forward every text message from Leora about the Sundance account to a dedicated email folder. Days later, I feel anxious and exhausted, but I need to find a solution for these issues. Sleep eludes me most nights. When my office phone rings, my heart races before I even see the caller ID. During team meetings, I lose track of conversations, my mind calculating how many more weekend coffee shop shifts I need to make rent this month. One Tuesday, I was making a cappuccino when my hands began tingling, vision narrowing to a pinpoint. I barely made it to the back room before collapsing onto a milk crate, gasping for air, certain I was dying. 20 minutes later, my manager found me, still shaking. "Anxiety attack," she said, recognition in her eyes. "My sister gets them too." The knock at my door comes at 7:43 p.m. on a Thursday. I peer through the peephole to find Tessa, my oldest friend, holding a casserole dish and a bottle of wine. "I brought dinner," she says when I open the door. "You don't have to explain anything." We eat in silence at my tiny kitchen table, the one I found at a garage sale when I first moved out. The normality of sharing a meal with someone who expects nothing in return brings unexpected tears to my eyes. "Your family's posts about you are garbage," Tessa says finally, refilling my wine glass. "I'm not asking what happened, but I believe you." She slides a familiar brochure across the table, the Data Analyst Certification Program. "There's a scholarship deadline next week. I already filled out most of the application for you." When my phone rings the next morning with my mother's number, I answer immediately, old habits dying hard. "Why are you punishing us, Naraya?" Her voice wavers with practiced fragility. "We gave you everything." For 5 years, I've swallowed these accusations, desperate to prove my worth. But something in me has shifted, a quiet certainty taking root. No, I say, my voice steady for the first time in months. You gave Leora everything. You gave me what was left. The silence stretches between us, heavy with decades of unspoken truths. I'm stopping all payments immediately. I continue, surprised by my calm. Whatever story Leora's told you about our arrangement isn't true, and I have the records to prove it. You can't do this to us, my mother whispers. We're your parents. Yes, I reply, and I'm your daughter. That should have been enough. I made myself clear. After hanging up, I sit motionless at my kitchen table, waiting for the familiar wave of guilt. It doesn't come. Instead, I feel weightless, as if I've set down a burden I've carried so long I'd forgotten it wasn't part of me. That weekend, Tessa helps me create a budget plan on my laptop. If you stop sending them money, you'll have your emergency fund rebuilt in 3 months, she says, pointing to the projected balance. When I begin to explain my reasoning, she simply listens, never interrupting the way my family always did. 2 weeks later, I submit my application for the Data Analyst Certification Program. My manager notices me studying during breaks and offers to mentor me through the advanced modules. You've got a talent for this, she says. Don't let it go to waste. The doorbell rings as I'm reviewing practice questions. I open the door without checking the peephole, still focused on database configurations. My family stands on my doorstep, looking disheveled and desperate, Leora's perfect makeup streaked with tears. I've been expecting this moment, but not the strange sense of calm that comes with it. A week later, I open my apartment door to find them huddled in the hallway, my father's shoulders squared with righteous indignation, my mother clutching her purse to her chest, and Leora standing slightly behind them with an expression of practiced concern. Come in, I say, stepping aside but remaining on my feet as they file past me. The scent of my mother's familiar perfume, White Diamonds, the same bottle I'd given her 3 Christmases ago, fills my small living space. I don't offer to take their coats. I don't suggest they make themselves comfortable. They settle onto my secondhand sofa while I remain standing, a subtle reversal that doesn't escape my father's notice. You've been avoiding our calls, he says, voice already edged with accusation. I've been preparing. I walk to my kitchen table where 3 manila folders lie in a neat row, each labeled with precise black lettering: transactions, communications, consequences. I've color-coded the tabs, highlighted key figures, organized everything with the same methodical attention I bring to my data analysis work. Preparing what exactly? My mother's voice wavers, uncertain now. I place the first folder in front of them and open it. Every withdrawal from my account, every transfer to Sundance. $14,500 total. I tap a highlighted column. Money that could have gone toward my certification, my future. My father stares at the numbers, his confident expression faltering. The columned evidence of my sacrifice sits before him in unforgiving black and white. These could be doctored, Leora interjects, leaning forward. Anyone can print fake statements these days. Her accusation hangs in the air for exactly 3 seconds before my father clears his throat. We did receive the money, he admits slowly. We just thought it was from Leora. The room goes utterly still. My mother's hands twist in her lap. Why would you think that? I ask, voice steady despite the tremor I feel building inside my chest. My father glances at Leora, then back to the papers. Because she told us she was handling everything, that you were too practical to help substantially. He swallows hard. And because we needed to believe her. Why? My mother breaks then, voice cracking. We invested money in a venture Leora recommended. An exclusive opportunity, she called it. My father's face ages 10 years before my eyes. We lost $22,000, our retirement savings. The revelation lands like a physical blow. Not just my money vanished into Leora's schemes, but my parents' future security as well. I can show you the investment documents, my father continues, reaching for his worn leather briefcase. We thought we were being smart for once, not just practical like me, I finish for him. Leora stands abruptly. This isn't my fault. The market is unpredictable. If you'd given me more time. Sit down, my father says, with a sharpness I've never heard directed at my sister. She sinks back onto the sofa, her usual poise crumbling. My father turns to me, eyes hollow with desperation. Naraya, we need a loan to cover some of these losses, just until we get back on our feet. You've always been so good with money. The request strikes me like a slap. After everything, he's still asking me to fix their problems. I hesitate, torn between competing impulses. Should I help them one last time to demonstrate I was better than their treatment of me? Or would establishing firm boundaries now be the healthier choice for everyone? The doorbell rings, perfectly timed. When I open it, Tessa stands there with a leather portfolio and a determined smile. "Sorry I'm late," she says, loud enough for my family to hear as she steps inside. We'd planned this, a strategic reinforcement when I needed it most. "Everyone, this is my friend Tessa," I say. "She works in financial counseling." Tessa nods to my family with professional courtesy as she takes a seat at my kitchen table. She opens her portfolio and spreads out several brochures. "I've brought some information about credit counseling services and retirement recovery options," she explains, her tone neutral and helpful. "There are several programs specifically designed for seniors who've experienced investment losses." My mother stares at the materials, then at me. "You planned this." "I prepared," I correct her, just like I've always done. For the first time, my parents realize what they have done. Tessa continues calmly explaining options, debt consolidation, budget restructuring, financial literacy workshops while I watch my family's facade crumble. My mother's carefully applied makeup can't hide the tears that begin to fall. "We've always relied on your practicality, Naraya," she whispers, even when we didn't acknowledge it. Leora sits unnaturally still, her usual animated confidence replaced by something that looks remarkably like shame. My father studies Tessa's brochures with intense focus, asking questions about timeline and requirements. I say into a momentary silence, that we should all meet with a financial advisor, together, to discuss reality. The word reality hangs in the air between us. For the first time in my life, I feel like my family might actually see me not as the reliable afterthought, but as the person who could guide them towards solid ground. My father nods slowly. "That would be helpful." I feel Tessa's subtle nod of approval beside me. For once, I'm not alone in facing my family. For once, I'm standing on my own terms. The living room of my apartment feels smaller with my family crowded inside. Mother perches on the edge of my sofa, her fingers twisting the strap of her purse, the same nervous habit I've watched since childhood. Dad paces in the 3 steps of open floor space, his shoulders hunched forward like he's walking into a storm. Leora sprawls in my reading chair as if she owns it, legs crossed at the ankles, examining her manicured nails. "There's this trust fund." Dad begins, his voice taking on the reasonable tone I know precedes unreasonable requests. "Your grandfather set it aside. You're the only one with access." My pulse quickens. Grandfather died when I was 2. He never established any trust fund for me. Mother leans forward, her rehearsed speech tumbling out. "We wouldn't ask if it wasn't an emergency, Naraya. The bank is threatening foreclosure." Dad's hands twitch at his sides. I notice the twitch spreads to his left eye, the tell he could never hide when lying to his boss about missing work. "We've already lost so much," he adds, voice cracking at precisely the right moment. "Your sister has been our rock, but even she can't shoulder everything alone." Leora nods solemnly, the picture of filial devotion. "I could help manage whatever you can provide," she offers, voice dripping with false humility. "I've taken some business courses." I stand perfectly still. My back against the wall, I painted myself a warm terracotta that took 3 coats to cover the previous tenant's attempt at navy. The color of strength, of earth, of standing your ground. "If you can't help your family in their time of need," Mother whispers, eyes downcast, "then maybe you don't want to be part of this family." The threat hangs in the air between us. 5 years ago, it would have shattered me. Today, I walk to my desk and retrieve a folder. Inside is my data analysis certification completed last week, after 3 months of late nights and dawn study sessions. Next to it, a letter on company letterhead. "I've been promoted to team lead," I say, my voice steady as I place the letter on the coffee table. "My salary increases by 40% next month." Their eyes follow my movements like predators tracking unexpected prey behavior. "While you were spending retirement savings on Leora's business schemes, I was investing in myself." I tap the certification. "While you were buying her a car, I was taking the bus to night classes." "Naraya, that's wonderful, but," Dad begins. I don't need to buy my place in this family anymore. I cross to the bookshelf and take down the family photo album Aunt June gave me when I moved out. I flip it open, removing a half-dozen photos me at graduation, cropped to a sliver on the edge while Leora dominates the frame. My 10th birthday where I'm barely visible behind Dad's shoulder. The family vacation where I was positioned so far back I'm barely recognizable. I place them on the table, spreading them out like evidence at a trial. I'm not going to live in the margins of my own life anymore. Mother's hand covers her mouth. We didn't have enough for everyone, Naraya. We did our best. The laugh that escapes me holds no humor. You had enough. You just chose how to distribute it. I stand at my full height, all 5 feet 6 inches of backbone I've built through years of supporting myself. They remain seated, suddenly looking smaller than I remember. I'd like you to leave now. Dad's eyes widen. We're still your family. You can't just throw that away. Family doesn't exploit each other. I move to the door, opening it wide. Family doesn't lie about bank statements or invent trust funds. Naraya, please. Dad's voice cracks, this time with genuine emotion. What will people think? I hold his gaze, unmoved by the fear I see there. That's not my concern anymore. One by one they file past Mother with her lips pressed tight, Dad with shoulders slumped, Leora with a flash of something like respect in her eyes before it's replaced by the familiar contempt. The door closes with a quiet click. I press my forehead against its cool surface, breathing deeply. My phone buzzes on the counter. Cousin Ellie's name appears on the screen. I almost ignore it, but something makes me read the message. I heard what happened with Uncle Jack and Aunt Lena. Is it true they're selling the house? Also, I need advice about college applications. You're the only one who actually finished without family money. Can I call you sometime? I stare at the message, thumb hovering over the keyboard. The apartment feels suddenly vast and silent. The photos remain on the coffee table, evidence of a past I can't change. But the future that remains unwritten. Outside my window, Chicago traffic continues its steady flow, lives moving forward, regardless of who's watching. I straighten my shoulders and turn away from the door. I am not the lesser child I never was. I am Naraya Adams, and I am enough. I will show it to everyone. I stand in the center of my new apartment, sunlight streaming through windows I no longer keep covered. The walls, once bare in my old studio, now display framed certificates, my data analysis certification, team lead promotion letter, and a handwritten note from my first mentee thanking me for believing in her. 5 years since that coffee mug shattered on my floor. 5 years of rebuilding. My finger traces the edge of my oak desk, not secondhand, not a bargain find, but chosen deliberately. Unlike the storage room bed that folded into the wall, making me disappear when not needed, this furniture claims space unapologetically. On my laptop screen, my financial spreadsheet glows with comforting certainty. The savings column shows a steady climb, $28,473.56. Enough for emergencies. Enough that I never have to say yes out of desperation again. The cream envelope arrives on a Tuesday, heavy cardstock with gold embossing Cousin Ellie's wedding invitation. The first contact from anyone in my family since I closed my door on them 5 years ago. No demands for money, no accusations, just an invitation. My name is written in calligraphy, Naraya Adams. Not, and guessed, not tucked at the bottom as an afterthought. My hand hovers over the trash can, old instincts whispering to protect myself from inevitable disappointment. Instead, I place it on my desk. Tomorrow I'll decide, or next week. The power of choice sits comfortably in my hands now. When I finally write my RSVP, I don't call anyone for permission. Don't craft explanations or apologies. Just a simple, yes, attending, checked off with a steady hand. I slip a gift check inside exactly what I can afford, not what would impress anyone. The Oregon coast stretches before me in shades of gray and blue. Wind whips my hair as Tessa, radiant in her wedding dress, laughs while her new husband chases a runaway napkin across the sand. I raise my champagne glass, surprisingly steady despite the eyes of 40 guests upon me. To Tessa and James, I say, voice clear across the beachside tent. You taught me that family isn't who you're born to, it's who sees you clearly. Who makes space for your whole self, not just the convenient parts. Tessa's eyes shine with tears. She knows what these words cost me, what they mean. Later, I walk barefoot along the shoreline, waves erasing my footprints. Calder, an architect I met during the reception, keeps pace beside me. His questions about my data visualization projects feel refreshingly direct professional curiosity without hidden agendas. Have you ever considered combining architectural rendering with financial forecasting? He asks, gesturing toward the horizon. Creating physical spaces that respond to data trends? Like buildings that visualize information? I smile, genuinely intrigued. No, but I'd like to hear more. We stop where the sand meets weathered rocks. The sunset turns the ocean copper, then deep gold. For the first time in years, I feel curiosity about what comes next without anxiety shadowing it. Maybe it took losing everything to finally feel whole, I whisper, more to myself than to him. As I watch the waves wash away my footprints, I wonder whether forgiveness requires reconnection, or if some relationships are healthier kept in the past. What would you choose? Attempting to rebuild with those who broke your trust, or investing that energy in new connections built on mutual respect? Calder doesn't press for explanations about my quiet moment. He simply offers his jacket when the evening chill rolls in off the water. And that, perhaps, is answer enough.